All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless me here talking real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. So, as you probably already know, there's been a lot of chit chat about a possible Van Halen tribute show. Some people might even call it a Van Halen reunion of sorts because you'd have three of the four original members. Of course, Joe Satriani would be the guy who would be pretending to be Eddie Van Halen and trying to do his best to duplicate the Ed parts. And some people are totally against this. They think that, with Ed's passing, the whole idea of Van Halen should just go away. And then there are some people who want some closure. They'd like to see a concert. They wouldn't mind seeing a tour. And I'm starting to feel like I don't think they can do it justice. I'm starting to believe what Jason Newsted said when he spilled the beans about this idea that, this isn't the Van Halen of 1984, right? It can't be, just there's no way. Dave is no longer the Dave he once was, and he apparently was the primary focus of this entire thing. I will say this, right? So here's not necessarily a correction, but an addition to what I had to say the last time, because there are a few people out there saying, well, Dave never said he was coming out of retirement so he could be in Van Halen. If Dave comes out of retirement, it's because Dave wants to do more solo gigs. Maybe he'd come out of retirement because he canceled a bunch of gigs on people. He might want to make up those dates, or he may just embark on more solo touring. So again, you can easily make the connection, though, that, hey, this Van Halen thing is swirling around. Dave now says he might not be retired, but he never said, I'm coming out of retirement to be in Van Halen. So I think that's an important distinction and one worth noting. However, people who do speculation for a living, who listen and watch and read, we all come to a lot of the same conclusions. Sometimes you have to kind of go beyond the story to see if there's another story or if you're missing the point about the original story, and you can easily do that. Part of me would love to see some kind of tribute show and maybe several shows, because I'm thinking, okay, they're going to have one show. Where's it going to be? New York, Los Angeles. So a whole bunch of people aren't going to get to see the tribute show. But then there's the other side, which is equally important, which says that maybe this should just not happen at all. And it's probably not going to happen. And again, Jason Newsted may have been just saying, the thing is over with. I was going to be a part of it, but it never went anywhere. And that was, a year or so ago when all this supposedly went down. So if it didn't happen last year, there's probably no reason why it isn't still being talked about. Michael Anthony made it kind of sound like David Lee Roth was just taking over the conversation and nothing really got said. So these are rumors and they generate interest. And obviously it's good for social media and good for people like me. But in the end, there may not be anything to this. No mention of Sammy Hagar either, which I think is a mistake if you're going to plan something like this. And if Dave comes back, it may just be for Dave, for Dave's solo music and for him being Van Halen de facto, like he said a couple of years ago. So anyway, people, that's a little amendment to the video I did about David Lee Roth over the weekend. I just don't know if I believe that Dave wants to be in a Van Halen reunion. I do believe that Dave wants to probably keep his name out there and keep his publicity going. He doesn't have a whole lot going on other than retirement, which, he probably should retire. I'm thinking he's got enough money, maybe, although he did have a couple of startup businesses that didn't go anywhere, and I'm sure he invested a lot of money. But being a songwriter and getting publishing revenue, and he's one of those guys, I'm sure, who would think about maybe selling off his catalog and taking the big lump sum and just walking off into the sunset, right? Don't know. I don't even know if I really care at this point, because a lot of these older rock bands, there's not that much to talk about. You know, the up and coming bands, the bands that are, you know, I don't know, a little edgier and harder for me to listen to. I don't have a lot of interest in those bands. Hence, that's why we had Country Week last week on the show. And we'll be featuring a few videos now and then about what's going on in the world of country music, because quite honestly, I think there is some good stuff happening over there, even though some people just disagree with me or it's not their thing. I understand some people approach me who are, you know, hardcore metalheads and so forth. I've never made this channel about one particular thing, and it is music and not, you know, country music or hard rock music. It's just music. So if it's music, it qualifies. I mean, if I'm talking about Beethoven tomorrow, you know, it could be because there's not a lot going on. So that's the video on DLR and a possible Van Halen reunion, which is probably not going to happen. And if it does, you know, again, it's because Dave is the most fickle person on the planet, and he plays everybody really well, and he can, you know, eventually get enough publicity to say, okay, this might be worth doing, you know. But Alex Van Halen, according to Michael Anthony, holds all the cards here. And Alex, he's not doing anything right now. So that's it. See you soon.